Well, looks like we've got another hockey player punching somebody they're not supposed to again. Great! Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. Over the last few months, we have seen our fair share of hockey players punching people they're not supposed to. Whether it's Artur Kayamov punching a KHL referee, Oleg Saprikin punching a flight attendant, or even a mascot getting into a fight with a fan, we have seen our fair share of fists being thrown on this channel. Well, earlier this week, another incident was added to the list during a game in the FHL. So let's take a look at what happened, shall we? FHL stands for Federal Hockey League, by the way. Yeah, I had no idea this league existed either. The more you know. So the story we are looking at today was written by Yahoo Sports on April 22nd and is titled FHL Goalie Punches Fan After Having Drink Thrown in His Face. To be fair, I would be pretty mad if somebody threw a drink at my face too. I probably wouldn't punch them because of it, but I get where the goalie's coming from. When your team is named the Elmira Enforcers, no one is expecting a gentle hockey game. True, but it's nice to see a player finally living up to his team's nickname for once. I mean, you don't see Toronto players acting like Maple Leafs, and you don't see Florida players pretending to be Panthers, do ya? Some Montreal players aren't even Canadian. The hypocrisy of it all. A controversial overtime goal was the catapult to an unravelling of both benches. It's hard to see whether or not the puck crossed the line with this angle, but the referee signalled a goal and the case was closed. So here is the original Twitter video that the article is referencing, and they're right. It is very difficult to see whether or not the puck crosses the line from the broadcast angle. The caption of the original Twitter video does say that the referee pointed towards the goal at the same time as the goal light went on. So the referee clearly thought it was a good goal and showed no sign of hesitation in calling it. Though the goal was called, let's just say that the Elmira head coach had a differing opinion. Elmira's head coach, Brent Clark, went vintage Jim Schoenfeld on the officials, receiving a double game misconduct for threatening the life of a referee, according to the official referee report. Well, that's one way to get yourself kicked out of a game. A pretty stupid one, but a way nonetheless. Chaos continued. The Carolina Thunderbirds took a page out of their bunch of jerks neighbours, the Carolina Hurricanes, and did their own storm surge into the glass, adding fuel to the fire. You see how this celebration got the fans pumped up just a little bit too much and potentially made things worse in the long run? Don Cherry was right all along. The Thunderbirds fans lined up to chirp the Elmira team as it left the ice, led by goaltender Troy Passingham, who had a phenomenal 70-save performance. 70 saves? Your team left you out to dry so much that you had to make 70 saves in a single game? Forget punching a fan, Passingham, you should have punched your teammates. By poor design, the visitors' locker room is only accessible by walking through a crowd of Carolina fans, where one supporter splashed Passingham in the face with a beverage. And the award for the biggest idiot of the day goes to that guy. What a stupid thing to do. I know some fans really buy into the rivalry and they take things that little bit too far, but come on man, that's not cool. Playing now is a video of the incident. You can clearly see at the start of the recording that a fan sprays what has now been claimed is a water bottle at Passingham, to which the goaltender snaps and throws a punch at the fan, which leads to a crowd of people forming around the incident. Other Elmira players look like they try to get through the crowd in order to help their goalie out, but they are pushed back. Standing in the strike zone and reportedly injured was Fran Soskin, the wife of Thunderbirds owner Barry Soskin. Talk about making things 1,000 times worse for yourself. Of all the fans in all the arenas in all the world, you decide to injure the wife of the opposing team's owner. You just can't make this stuff up, can you? Police reports were filed against multiple players, with disciplinary actions from the FHL still pending. Oh, the 1980s called? They want their hockey game back. You know it was a great game when the police were called and players are getting suspended, right guys? Elmira and Carolina have a history of unfriendliness. Back in March, a game was suspended after the first period when another controversial goal led to the Enforcer's owner being fined $25,000 for pushing a linesman and tearing the shirt of another official. Wow, the Elmira Enforcers don't mess about, do they? They make the Charlestown Chiefs look like a peewee team. So in terms of where I stand on this incident, I think the whole situation could have been avoided if the fan didn't spray the water. The fan initiated this whole situation, and if he didn't spray the water bottle at Passingham, none of the events that took place afterwards would have happened. I really don't understand why the fan did this, considering his team won. I might have the tiniest slither of sympathy for the fan if he decided to do this when Passingham had stood on his head and the Carolina Thunderbirds had lost the game in overtime, but they didn't. The Carolina Thunderbirds won the game, and he still felt the need to do this after a guy had put up 70 saves in the game and his team still lost. I mean, if the fan does this when his team wins, I really don't want to think about what would happen if the Carolina Thunderbirds had lost this game. That said, Passingham should not have responded in the way he did. I get that things happen in the heat of the moment and players can make split-second decisions, but as a player, you always have to take the higher ground, because if you do decide to respond to something and escalate it even further, the person that's going to come out looking the worst is you. The fan is just some no-name in the stands that either wants to rile the opposing team up or get some attention, yet you are a semi-professional hockey player. You have a lot more to lose in this scenario than that fan does. You have the chance to potentially lose your spot on your team's roster or lose your job in the league either due to police action or suspensions by the league, whereas the fan will likely just get a slap on the wrists. You see, you have a lot more to lose here. Also, if Passingham didn't respond, he wouldn't come out of this situation looking like the bad guy. Because Passingham decided to punch the fan and escalate things even further, he comes out looking like the bad one in this situation, when it was the fan that initiated the whole thing. And that's reflected in the title of this article. It's written, FHL Goalie Punches Fan, as opposed to fan squirts water at FHL goalie and he responds. Because they know that the FHL goalie is the bad guy. He's the one that has a lot more to lose here. He's the one that will get the attention on the article because he's a person in a certain position, in a certain job, that isn't supposed to respond, you know? If the fan threw the drink on Passingham and he didn't respond, the fan would be the one that looks bad here, not Passingham, you know? However, whilst I don't agree with Passingham's actions, I don't really blame him, to be honest. He had done nothing wrong to this fan, and probably didn't even know who the guy was, yet this fan felt like he had the right to spray water all over the goaltender. Passingham just reacted in the heat of the moment after standing on his head for his team and losing a really close game. The fan decided to push the buttons of a very clearly frustrated goaltender, and he has to suffer the consequences. So if there is anything to be learnt from this whole situation, it is this. If you are a hockey player and somebody tries to get under your skin, just don't respond, because more often than not, it will cause you more harm than good. And if you're a fan watching a game, don't throw water all over an opposing player, because at the end of the day, you're going to look like a massive pleb. And with that, I'm going to end today's video. What do you think about this whole incident? Also, what do you think about this reaction commentary style of video? I haven't made one of these in quite a while now, and we've had a lot more subscribers and a lot more viewers to the channel since my last video like this, so I'd be very interested to hear what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. But please feel free to like, subscribe, share, or watch some of my other videos. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye. A big thank you to Andy, Chris Gadsby, Dave, David, Kalesbro, Martin Tolness, Matt DeWild, Max Artis, and Nat Marlowe, as well as a huge thank you to Cam Montgomery and Ryan Todd for helping support this video via Patreon. If you too want to help support the channel a little bit further and get a shout out at the end of every future video, make sure you head over to patreon.com/oddmanrush and become a patron today.